It's the most Alan Partridge we've ever been.
Aha!
Oh, huh.
Ready for the clap?
Knowing you. Yeah. Welcome to Nerds Are Us. We're back with Comics and Beyond. It's me, Amy. Again, we have Tony in Finland with a time delay.
Yeah,
And we got Foxy in the shed, the man cave.
I know. It's in the progress of being redone. Hi, Tony.
Hey,
Hi.
Tony. Look at him.
Stop froze for a minute.
I feel like this is like Eurovision. And now we're going to Tony in Finland for the island votes.
Damn you, you bitch. Damn you.
What's that? I need to go. Oh, sorry, but
Oh, okay. We're not here to talk about Eurovision just yet. Oh, that is going to be a future episode.
God damn it.
That's going to be Tony's like mastermind topic. It's going to be Eurovision.
no, like that's not even a lie. 100%. That's my math.
I know. I know. We are here to talk all things Batman today because, I mean, there's hopefully going to be a new Batman out in 2021 as long as Robert Pattinson doesn't die of COVID-19. Fingers crossed. We've all watched the trailer. We're all very excited, and now we just want to talk all things Dark Knight.
Yes, we do. Because obviously, like, I'm a big fan. I imagine yourselves are like big fans of Batman as well as comics in general. Why else are we doing a show about it?
We got bored. We were bored during lockdown. We decided to start a channel, and we pulled a blank. And now we're committed to it.
Hey, remember that time we like started a channel?
Oh Jesus, what were we thinking?
That was actually true.
Yeah, that was not. This time is correct. Batman's my favorite my favorite superhero. Like in the DC universe, it's always going to be Batman. I think Batman will always kind of have that little bit of an edge over Iron Man in my eyes.
Because they're basically similar. Like they are the counterpart to each other.
Similar.
Like,
oh God, yeah, totally.
They're the same character, just with slight tweaks.
Jay, but I have cared about Batman before anyone else, so that's how it's easy to say who's better.
Yeah. Well, like
I don't think you can put that out there at the moment, considering I'm older than you significantly. I think I had the Batman before you did. Okay, you can take the Riddler all you want. All right, I will give you Riddler. Riddler can be your favorite villain. That's fine. I'm on the Poison Ivy train myself.
Correct, Zach. The favorite character.
Fuck off, Tony.
You're just got a delay, and then it's like, fuck off.
I'm sensing that there might be a bit of a time delay.
Yes, there is.
Not just by 2 hours.
It definitely is. So
we're gonna get into it. So Robert Pattinson is the new Batman on this one. I'm curious. Who's everybody's favorite Batman?
Michael Keaton. Well done.
Yeah.
Like well done. Like he had both. He was a good Batman and he was a good Bruce Wayne. But also like because the nostalgia factor, it was the first Batman I was introduced to. Like I was introduced to him before I was introduced to Adam West. So.
Oh, I had Adam West first. I did. Although I do agree, Michael Caine is probably one of the better ones.
Michael Caine.
I didn't Michael Keaton.
I didn't know Michael Caine fucking wore the batsuit. I know he was Alfred.
I do love his Alfred. Michael Keaton is the best one on it. Although I do like to pick and choose from other Batmans and other Bruce Waynes, and if I could mix them together, I'd be really happy. Tony, who's your favorite Batman?
Batman versus Superman, Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck is good.
Yeah, I like Ben Affleck. Was good.
I don't think he got a fair shot.
Yeah.
Because
not at all. He did not at all.
Because I mean, like originally he was supposed to be in the Batman. This was supposed to be his trilogy of movies. but that didn't
Wait.
happen.
Happening.
Hmm?
He's gonna reprise the role in the Flash movie.
Yeah. Well, he still is. Like, he is now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like at first he's like he's never doing it again, but now he's open to doing it. So happy
Well,
days.
that's also like he was in a bad way, personal life.
Yeah.
So
God, yeah.
that's understandable. But I am glad that he is coming back, and especially with the Snyder cut of the film of the Justice League. So it means that like we're getting a 4-hour Justice League movie. Like, how mad is that?
It's a mini series.
Well, it's still a movie. Like, you put it all together, it's a movie. Like 4 hours. Like, that's mad compared to the 2-hour one we got. Like,
I don't like. Yeah, I'm very kind of like. I kind of want to forget that, and just
Movie.
maybe. I wasn't. I'm not. I wasn't a fan of it. I thought everything was very, like it was. It was cut to bits,
it was
right?
rushed.
Let's be honest. It was, and it was. It was very rushed and everything. And like, what they're trying to do. It's like
Catch
they're
up to
playing
Marvel.
catch up. Exactly. I mean, they are playing catch up. They are, which is a bit ridiculous when you really think about it. I
Mm.
mean, they're like Batman was the original superhero movie that they had when you really think. Like, sorry, no, I take that back. DC were the original superhero movies when you really think about it.
Yeah.
And it all started with Superman and Christopher Reeves and Superman, and then Batman came along, and then Marvel wasn't until 2008.
8.
Okay, right. So I was giving them a real benefit of the doubt on that.
No, I mean, like,
So I
the
mean,
MCU was 2008. But there was Marvel movies set, like, before that. Like, I could think around 2000 is when they started actually, like, coming out.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
count Sony's version in this. I'm going to kind of go with just the Marvel universe because that's what DC were trying to emulate.
Yeah, well, then 2008.
It would have been like the first. That was the first. First Iron Man was 2008.
Yes.
Fuck.
Which is crazy to think because that's all the same year as The Dark Knight.
Fuck.
Yeah. So just think of that for a second. Like,
Oh my
So-
god.
yeah. The same year we got Iron Man, we also got, like, Heath Ledger's Joker. Yeah. When you
That's
think of it like that,
made me
it's just
feel.
crazy.
I was 18. Oh my god. I've literally gone my entire adult life with Marvel movies.
Mm. Like,
That's terrifying.
what I find with the movies is that, especially since Michael Keaton, it's always been you find a good Batman, but they're not a good Bruce Wayne, or they're a good Bruce
Yeah.
Wayne and not a good Batman.
Like George Clooney was a good Bruce Wayne,
Yeah.
wasn't a great Batman.
Mm,
Val Kilmer was a great Batman, wasn't a great Bruce Wayne.
yeah, he looked the
Um,
part. He
he
actually
did.
looked the
He
part of a
looked
Bruce
it,
Wayne. He looked
but
more the part than George Clooney did. But George Clooney, like, with the charisma he has, he's good as a Bruce Wayne.
I think it's like it's nice as well because George Clooney will always apologize for, for Batman. Like, say that again, Tony. You're cutting out.
He needs to apologize for that.
Well, he does. Like every interview he does where it gets brought up, he apologizes for it. Like he knows. So here's the thing: is right. If you want,
He has to, like, part of his contract.
I just want to like look at it from a specific point of view, right? So if you look at, I'm not gonna use the 1960s Batman just yet. Okay,
Okay.
I'll come back to that one in a second, right? For the first Batman movies, which were the Tim Burton movies, so you've got like it's very dark. You're watching a Tim Burton movie when you're watching. Like you don't feel like you're watching a comic, like a superhero movie. It feels like you're watching a Tim Burton movie, and you're watching a Tim Burton movie, and that's okay. I mean, okay, the first Batman it pissed me off a little bit when certain things happen because you're like, Bruce Wayne wouldn't have done this. Alfred would never have brought Vicky Vale into the fucking Batcave.
God no.
Sort of thing, right? So you're kind of like, straight away you're like, okay, Tim Burton really doesn't get what this character is all about. He just thinks he's dark and brooded, and he's a tortured soul, which fits really well into a Tim Burton movie in general. Like I
Yeah,
find his
he
like
pl-
he
he
kind of
played to his strengths.
yes, he turned Batman into a bit of an Edward Scissorhands,
Yes.
right? And that's what he did, and he did okay for the first two movies. That was fine. Then you've got Joel Schumacher,
Yep.
who only died this year, I think. He passed away this year.
Who did the last two out of those four movies?
Yeah, so he did Forever and Batman and Robin. And he had the joy of working with Val Kilmer and George Clooney. They were really, like, when you look at those two movies compared to Tim Burton's movies, they were the comic book version of this. They were very comic-y.
Yes.
Everything was over the top with them, and it worked. The first one worked, like Batman Forever worked as the comic movie. It was over the top. It was playful. The characters, they took themselves seriously, but not too seriously, so you knew they were having fun. Tommy Lee Jones was fucking Two-Face, for Christ's sakes.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Well,
Tommy Lee Jones was Two-Face.
The way I look at it is that you have the Tim Burton movies, and that's it. Like that's it for them.
That's its own Batman.
Yeah.
Franchise
Whereas
there.
Joel Schumacher, when he came in and did Forever and Batman and Robin, they were directly like linked. Obviously, because you had like Robin and then like Batgirl, like come in Batman and Robin. But you also the only tie to the Tim Burton movies is Alfred.
Yeah.
He's the only main tie, other than Commissioner Gordon.
It is actually another thing, though, as well. Alfred, who from the first two, Michael Goth.
Yes.
Yeah. He was actually a Tim Burton staple for a lot of Tim Burton movies.
Yeah.
As well. So it's kind of like, he's a great Alfred. Like, I'm not going to lie. He's an excellent Alfred. He plays it so good. Like, he's very deadpan in Batman and Batman Returns. He is quite deadpan in it. It's just, you tell he's like, oh, I'd love to just smack Bruce in the face, like, for all the shit that he's causing me to do and all that thing. Like, that's the kind of feel you get off Alfred. I do like Michael Caine's version of Alfred, though, as well. I think Michael Caine does it really, really well. Because he doesn't, like, okay, granted, he's the fatherly figure for Bruce for Christian Bale's Batman, and it's fine. Give me 1 second. Hold on.
Nice. I think Jeremy Irons is also a good outfit, though.
Yes. Like,
yes, he is.
I was actually, like, I was gutted that he didn't get, like, a bigger part, because, like, he just seemed perfect for that role.
Yeah.
Although I'm
interested to see what Andy Serkis will be like.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's something different for him, though, I think, as well. I mean, anytime I think of Andy Serkis, I'm just thinking, is he going to be a CGI'd? No, is he going to be a fucking motion capture character? Is he going to literally be like a Gollum or a Caesar? That's all I ever think of him now. I just think of him as those characters now. So it is going to be nice to actually see him play a person.
Well, he is fairly typecasted, because he's always like put as like a bad person in films. Even when he does live action, he tends to be like bad guys.
The first one that pops into my head is Burke and Hare.
He's also Ulysses Claw in the MCU.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He got annoys me.
Tony's just gonna vent now. Fuck these people. I hate them all. Tony,
best character.
I'm trying to think now. What was I can't remember. I know we discussed it before. What was your interpretation of Jim Carrey as the Riddler?
I hate it.
Whereas I think it's perfect.
Yeah,
it's so over the
really
top.
enjoyed it, because
I hated it.
As a kid, I loved it, but as I grew up, I was like, he was actually the perfect person to do this. Like, really eccentric, like, person, like, to fill the role, who does believe that he is smarter than everyone else. Like he's very good with puzzles, but obviously that was his and Joel Schumacher's interpretation of Riddler. Like same
I
Yeah,
with
think
the
it
way
worked for the movie.
the way
yes,
I looked at her in that was he was the Joker without the makeup.
no,
No,
yes, I
not
get with the
as
gimmicks. I
I
get with the
get.
gimmicks,
Yeah,
yes, but no, I think he was like he was good at that.
for the
Like,
type for this is what I mean. So considering that it was really like it was the comic book movie. That's why I think he
he was
fits. Been very, very flamboyant in his actions and stuff like that, and it does work. And I think as well because when you're putting Jim Carrey up next to, okay, you're going to be up, you're going to literally be the sidekick in a sense, or like fighting for the first place against fucking Tommy Lee Jones.
yeah.
Whereas Tommy Lee Jones really was, I think in his mind, this is kind of a paycheck, so fuck it. It's something that I'm not really used to doing, so I'm just going to go for this.
He went
Because
ham
when you
with.
think about it, like I'm trying to actually remember. So for the first two movies, I'm going to go out and here. I'm nearly sure it's D. Wallace. No, that's not the name. Michael D. Wallace. Oh, what's his fucking name?
For what?
So it's the original Harvey Dent in
Oh, Billy D.
Batman's.
Williams.
Thank you. Why was I thinking of D. Wallace? Right. So that's
The
a woman
Orlando,
as well. I know.
the Orlando
BT
Calrissian.
one. There we go. It's like I know who it is. I know who it is. Why can't I think of his name? The reason why he had signed on to do the Batman and Batman Returns is because he knew Harvey Dent is going to become Two-Face. He wanted Two-Face. He wanted
Yeah.
to play Two-Face in the third movie, but Tim Burton didn't sign on to do a third one. And then they completely changed the direction they wanted to go in it. And that's why he got ousted out of that role. So I'm kind of curious. I actually would have loved to have seen his version of Two-Face had Tim Burton actually done a third movie.
Not only that, like you think about the time that those movies were made, like to have a black Harvey Dent, like you're changing the race of a
Amazing.
character.
It would have been amazing, though. I think
Uh,
he's a fantastic actor.
but it was uncalled for at the time. Like it just you would never have seen that. So it definitely would have broke new ground. Like to see that kind of
Yeah.
interpretation. Um, I do. I enjoyed the original four movies though, like as a whole.
Oh, I do. Like I did. Batman and Robin is a guilty pleasure. I think for me,
For all the
it's one of
puns.
those. It's just like it's just in general. Like some of it, I'm just like, like I kind of
I to
cringe
see
some aspects
you.
of it. Not even. Do you know what? I don't even mind the puns. The puns are fine, okay. And I love Poison Ivy. I really do. She's like one of my favorite villains. Like I love Poison Ivy, and I like Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy. That's fine to an extent. It's when they're like bidding, and it's like the back card, never leave the cave without. And I'm like, fuck you, so fucking hard, you fucking dick. But I'm also kind of like, okay, that's fine, whatever. I'll let
For
that
that.
slide.
I pop for
I'll
that.
let. Oh my god, like it makes me kind of like that's the shit. It's like that makes me slightly embarrassed when I'm watching. I'm just like, oh, it's so cringe. I get secondhand cringe. Like I suffer secondhand embarrassment so badly when I watch movies and TV shows, especially if a character does something like, if you're watching like American Pie and Jason Biggs' character does something, you're just like, oh no, I can't watch it. I have to kind of fast forward it until it's over with. And in that movie, it happens so often. I'm just like, oh, Chris O'Donnell, his entire like lines, like every single line he has to say, I'm kind of like,
He got annoying very
really?
quick.
Oh my god, you're just kind of like, oh, you're not a teenager. Like, stop it.
Yeah.
Dick Grayson was an adult at this point. Like, stop acting like the wayward teen trying to get into Alicia Silverstone's pants, okay? It's not going to happen. Get over yourself. Like, what? Oh, come on. That's what he wanted, okay? It actually, there's literally a clip in that movie where she's in her little, like, I'm sorry, Clueless wearing a fucking all-girls school uniform is unnecessary in this. Well, she's like trying to look through a wooden panel to see in. Come on. Like,
Was she typecasted?
Hollywood. Alicia Silverstone got screwed over in her career. Let's leave it. Like, I'd point that out. I think she really was typecasted. She did Clueless. That was like that was like the 90s version of Emma, which is what it was. Like, that's what it was like taken off. Like, and then all of a sudden that was the only roles that she did. This was trying to her being her breakout role to do like action.
Yeah.
And what has she done? What had she done since Batman and Robin?
Nothing. The closest she ever got was Anchorman.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. It took you a second.
Hold on a fucking second. I just no.
Alicia was it like Veronica Corningstone?
Oh no, that wasn't her. That's Christina Applegate.
Is it? No.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah. Sorry. Sorry.
Okay, so Alicia Silverstone had nothing after.
Sorry. No.
Alicia Silverstone. Oh my God. Well, she's
Yeah.
still coming down as an actress. She's 43.
Yeah. Why does that surprise you?
I don't know. I thought she was older.
Keep in mind, she would have been late teens, probably early 20s by the time she was doing Batman.
Oh, she has actually done some things. She did something in 2019 called The Lodge. She was in Diary of a Wimpy Kid in 2017. She was in Blast from the Past. Oh yeah, she was the fucking lead in that one. Oh, she's a vegan now.
Okay. So you're going to hold that against her?
She's published a vegan cookbook. No, I
no.
mean, like, she's published a vegan cookbook.
Fair play.
So she's a novel. Right, so she did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
We digressed very fast in this.
31. She's done 31 movies since Batman and Robin.
Okay.
And I've only ever heard of 2 of them. 3, sorry. Scooby-Doo Monsters Unleashed. She did Tropic Thunder as herself. Excellent movie. And she did Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And then The Lodge, which is another one which, again, haven't actually seen it yet. And a lot of the stuff she's uncredited in or uncredited as a producer. So, I mean, Batman did not open the doors for her the way it did for so many others. I mean, I want to talk about the villains just for a minute. So you have the Joker, okay, there's a few, right? So we'll just go with Jack Nicholson's Joker, Danny DeVito, Penguin, Michelle Pfeiffer, Catwoman, Uma Thurman, Poison Ivy, Bane by uncredited wrestler who's probably dead now. Arnold Schwarzenegger was Mr. Freeze, Jim Carrey as the Riddler, Two-Face,
Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones. Who am I missing? Cillian Murphy, Scarecrow.
Yes.
Fucking Liam Neeson.
Very good casting when we got into that series of films.
Honestly, but even like if I just take it, if you don't go into Christopher Nolan's trilogy though, I mean the array of actors that were in those movies, like that were in the movies in general. Jack Palance was in fucking Batman. That is, as fucking Carl Grissom is excellent casting. He's an excellent mobster, I think. He's a great actor, he is. He's a real, do not give a shit kind of attitude. Jerry Hall was in it as well, which, okay, granted, we could have done without her, to be fair. She was a bit of a throwaway character. As Alicia. But still, Jack Nicholson's Joker scared the shit out of me for a long, long time. Jack Nicholson just terrifies me in general over this. But when I think this was like the massive deal was when Heath Ledger was announced as the Joker. Everyone panned it straight away. because it was like, no, Jack Nicholson is the Joker. No one's ever going to be as good as Jack Nicholson. Sorry, I'm pretty sure back in 1989 when Jack Nicholson was mentioned as or 1988, or even when it went into production, when Jack Nicholson is, a lot of people were like, no, he's never going to be better than Caesar. How dare they? They're never going to be a better Joker. Like, everyone goes through it. So I am, like, I'm feeling that now. I was feeling that. Huh?
It wasn't really that big a deal back then, like in the 80s on who played what.
No, I know, but like, I'm using it as an example. Like, so when it does happen, so like Danny DeVito's Penguin is an iconic penguin. I mean, Danny DeVito's the Penguin is another thing as well. This is what Tim Burton does really well. He's able to make the characters darker enough that they need to be. When you first see Danny DeVito as the Penguin, you're kind of like, that's not Frank. Like, that's not It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia Frank anymore. That's not twins, but like, that was fucking terrifying. And then you see and then you see Colin Farrell now as it. You're like, oh my, I legit didn't even realize that was Colin Farrell. And I knew he was cast in the movie, and I legit couldn't tell that was him.
Mm.
But for the longest time, I was like always like Danny DeVito's the best Penguin. And then you watch Gotham. And Robin Taylor is the great, like, honestly, if Colin Farrell can do a better job than he did as Penguin, then Colin Farrell can get an Oscar for playing the Penguin, like.
Honest to God, Robin's version of Penguin is unfucking real. That was that's honest to God, I think that's actually, he's the best thing about Gotham, I think.
Okay, Riddler's there. Calm down.
No, but actor-wise, he is the best thing about Gotham. I'm sorry.
He stands out.
You can take a Riddler. Yes. Like, you go back, when you're thinking about it, he is the one that stands out.
I will raise with Jerome.
I mean, like, he didn't come in for a while.
Yeah. But when he was in, it felt like he was more rememberable and impactful in a way.
Because, like...
I can give you that. But...
Because a lot of the plots revolve around, like, Penguin in Gotham.
Like, they know they're building him as the villain. The one to be. It can be the fucking Highlander. There can be only one.
I mean, like, yeah, he did an amazing job on that series. Like, that's why he stands out. And it is...
Which is on Netflix. Highly recommend people watch it.
Like yourself, like, I don't know, I was looking out in the trailer to see where Colin Farrell was as the Penguin. I mean, like, how are they going to do this? And I didn't even recognize him. It had to be pointed out to me.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
That's what I had to go back. I went back and I watched it and I was like, pause and been like, that's not him. And it was only when I checked it and then I found a BuzzFeed article that had like the side by side and I was like, oh my God, it is him.
I mean, like,
it is such a transformation.
The funny part about it is, like, he looks like Richard Kind.
A little bit, yeah.
Like, I spent all that time like putting all this makeup on. But why didn't you just hire the guy you're trying to make him look like?
It's one of those things like someone said no and they're not dealing well with the breakup.
We like to look at this guy, but we prefer this guy's acting. Can we make him look like him?
It's more like we like his look, but we need his star power. That's what we're going for.
Yeah, I think the movie got him over the edge was Fantastic Beasts and how Colin Farrell played in that movie. It showed him as like a proper leader, kind of like he leads in a bad way, and it works perfectly.
Like, I'll be honest, like I don't mind. Like, Colin Farrell's not a bad actor. Like, when you really think about it, like he's actually not all that bad. One of my favorite movies is In Bruges. And him and I was going to say Liam Neeson. Him and Brendan Gleeson are an excellent pairing as two hitmen. Like, and he gives a stellar performance in that. And then he came the follow up then with Seven Psychopaths. So, like, I mean, he does work. Like he is actually a decent enough actor, and I think this is going to be something that will reinvigorate and kind of breathe new life into his career, I think, which is a good thing. The thing that bothers me slightly on this one, and it's not a bother sort of thing. It's like nowadays they're going, when you look at like makeup wise, how they create people in movies and stuff, right? So an awful lot of places kind of rely heavily with like CGI and stuff like that on them.
Mhm.
And it got me thinking. So when The Dark Knight came out in 2008,
Yes.
a movie, a Swedish movie came out at the same time. It was called Let the Right One In.
Yes.
Did either of you see it?
Yes.
Right.
I don't support the Swedish film industry.
Okay, I would actually recommend this. This is actually a very, very good vampire love story between two kids. It's excellent.
You put me off it now.
Oh no, honest to God, this movie.
It's not sparkly vampires, so don't worry
Oh
about
God,
it.
no! It's basically a little kid, Oscar, who is basically, he's like a little social outcast. He gets bullied, and he finds out he has a new neighbor, which is Ellie, who he never sees her, and they like communicate through Morse code through the wall, and then he finds out that she's a vampire in a very horrific way after she it's like the deaths in this movie are fantastically done. But there's a particular thing that happens in this movie where the fella who gets her like blood and stuff, when he gets burnt with acid. Do you remember the makeup that they did in that movie?
Yeah.
And how visually did, like, this figurement that he did on that. Part of me was always like, I really wish that in The Dark Knight they went that type of route. They actually went for an actual special effect, a practical effect, as opposed to using a CGI, because they went practical with Heath Ledger with his scars on his face, and they worked really well. Even in Batman Forever, they went with a practical effect over it, as opposed. Okay, it looks good, but it also, like in The Dark Knight, right? In The Dark Knight, it kind of takes you out of it a bit when you're looking at them, because you're like,
Yeah.
I've very recently seen a movie made in the exact same year where they use practical effects, and it looks so much better than what you've done with CGI here. That always kind of annoyed me a little bit, but I did like Aaron Eckhart as Two-Face as well, because it actually shows the turn happening. Because normally when you see Two-Face, he's already
there.
Two-Face, like, and you're kind of like. Oh.
Whereas this, you could see the glimpses, like you could see little tinges in his personality. It's like that wants to come out, and then finally when obviously the accident happens, like that's it. He's all in now.
The accident.
Yeah,
I think it was planned. If anything, like I'm nearly sure it was accidentally on purpose.
Is he really a man with a plan?
Nobody's a man with a plan anymore. Do I really look like a man with a plan?
I'm like a dog chasing cars.
I wouldn't know what to do if I get one. God, I miss Heath Ledger so much.
Hi. Yes, the Chris Nolan series.
I did prefer Joaquin.
Oh, Joaquin did a great job, though. Absolutely great job.
Yes.
Well, I do Joaquin to Ledger.
Yes. Well, they were friends.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously, he took elements from Heath's interpretation and brought his own take to it. So
I still don't know if I liked Joker or not.
So, like, the way because I did a review of the film literally the day I went to see it, and so basically everything was all fresh when I did it. But the way I put it is that it's a dark movie, not very violent, but when it does, it's intense, and it's done sparingly. It's a long burn, like it's a slow burn.
I do.
Music they had, well.
Which?
Oh, the score they had for it.
So good. Yeah, that was brilliant. That was worthy of its Oscar win. I'll give that. I do think that I also would say I think Joaquin Phoenix was worthy of his Oscar win. I think he did an excellent portrayal of the character. I just mean in general, I'm kind of like, when I watch the movie, like I didn't watch it straight away. I watched it like I'd already seen kind of the hype around the movie. Oscar season had already been come and gone on the movie, so I'd already seen kind of who won what over out of it and stuff. And I was like, okay, well look, it was on Sky. I had a VIP freebie, so I said, fuck it, I'll rent Joker because it will be free for me, and I'll rent it and I'll see what if it's any good, and or I'll see if it kind of like what the massive hype is about it.
Mm.
And I watched it, and I'm like, yeah, it was alright, it's fine.
Mm.
That was kind of like my view on it. Like the violence that is in it, it does catch you off guard, which I
Yes.
like. I really, because like the way people were going on about it, I was expecting a fucking bloodbath the way some people were going on about it.
No.
And then when it actually does happen, like for example, when he's, spoiler alerts, by the way, there's actually going to be massive spoilers in this fucking podcast now I think about it. So when he kills the two lads that he used to work with, the other two, or the one clown that he used to work with, and he literally stabs him in the fucking, he stabs him in the neck.
Yeah.
That fucking, that made me jump. Like
But
that was like that was a jump scare worthy fucking death.
But that's
And
what
it
I
caught
mean.
me
Like
so off guard.
it went from being like the violence isn't throughout the whole film, but when it does happen, it's intense and it's very unsettling kind of violence. Like
Yeah, but
that's the idea behind it.
yeah, but like it happens, and it's done, and that's fine, that's grand. But at that point, then I'm like, okay, so this is how they're gonna do it. So when he turns around and he shoots Robert De Niro, I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm expecting this now because this is how Todd Phillips has played it. So I am expecting this to happen. But it doesn't help as well that I think that was actually, they showed that an awful lot as well. Actually, I think there was clips of him actually killing Robert De Niro on certain websites and stuff that they had on it.
Yeah.
And I think it was done in such a way where it's like, oh, you don't know if it's real, or you don't know if it's a dream, or you don't know. You're kind of like, yeah, but I'm expecting it now. I'm after seeing one highly vicious kill, so I know now that they are going to come out of nowhere. The one though on the train is a real. That's one that kind of makes you think. Really, I think it's one of those like, God, I mean, this could easily. Someone could say to me, "Goes, oh, that actually happened in New York. They just pulled a real life murder." And I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Like, but I didn't like the way some people were going on about. I'm like, oh my God, I sympathize so much. I feel so weird. I don't know what I'd be doing. I'm like, I have no sympathy for that character whatsoever on it, because I think there's a distortion to it where you're kind of like, well, he probably is the whole time just speaking to a psychiatrist about this.
But you can like, I can understand it's like people feel bad for the struggle, the kind of like
Yeah.
the shit.
Like you feel bad for someone who'd be going through the struggle of that type of mental issues and stuff like that. But I'm someone who has spent her majority of her life watching movies that have had this particular character being portrayed in so many different ways, where it's like I actually know what the character's life based on what the comics have told me. And based on other portrayals that he's been in other movies and TV shows. And I'm like, you've turned around and Todd Phillips has tried to make him more of a sympathetic character, which doesn't really work. Because it kind of like, you've kind of changed his background story a little bit too much from what the comics is for me to actually accept this as canon.
Well, that's the thing. It's not meant to be canon. It's meant to be set in its own little universe.
Was this not meant to be the starting off point, though?
No,
for the Joker standalone movies.
Just a standalone
Joker, but other than that, it's its own thing. But the whole reason of Joker was because he had obviously the hallucinations and everything throughout the film. The whole point was like, by the end of the movie, you don't know if what happened in the movie actually happened or not at the same time. A lot skewed, kind of like, well, he imagined this happened, but it didn't, and he imagined this happened, and it didn't.
See,
so at the end of it, that's what the sense, did it happen or did it not?
Well, see, it's because you have a very unrealistic narrator. You have a very unrealistic person narrating this story. So realistically, you're not going to believe that it actually happened.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like, in that sense, it's like it's not really changing the.
Oh no, it's
not changing.
It's not
Yeah, I think-
changing kind of the background of it, but it's if you're turning around, if you're going to say, oh, it's a standalone movie that's not going to have, it's not set in this particular kind of time frame, well then you're not really doing a Joker movie then, are you?
I mean,
Because like if you look at it this way, Arthur could be a random bloke in a psychiatric hospital who watched the news and sees, oh, there is a character Joker and this is Batman is chasing him and this is how I would do it. And that's his narrative of how he would have done it and how he hoped it would have kind of worked out in his point of view.
yeah, but that's the thing. Like, that could be it, but like, there's just no way to know. That's kind of what, like, you can make these theories up, and they're not really too far fetched.
The beauty of the film is that it's up for interpretation. Like, you can take it whatever way you feel. It allows you that freedom. So,
Do you think Todd Phillips? Jesus Christ, that's like a fucking spotlight there. Do you think Todd Phillips was trying to go was trying to do the Inception on it? Then you don't know if it's a dream or if you don't know if it's reality.
Yeah,
he could have. That could have been his intention all along, just to give you a film where it's up to the audience to come up with their conclusions to it.
Todd Phillips gone the fucking Christopher Nolan route. Dude, I think you missed the point of this completely. I'm going to turn on the other light, actually. I think you missed the whole point of this, sir.
No, but it's a good movie. Like, I enjoyed it.
Like, I'd watch it again, but I don't think it didn't live up to I don't think it met up to the hype of what I was expecting it to be.
Now, what I liked about it is the fact that DC played it very well, where they didn't spoil anything. Like, we barely seen anything to do with it until like 2 or 3 weeks before it arrived in the cinema.
Do you think it's because they didn't actually know what to do with it?
Yeah, I believe that's the case, but I'm happy that they did it because it meant that I could go in and actually just enjoy a film rather than
without having everything spoiled.
Yes, which is one.
No, I agree.
I get it. Like, trailers are meant to excite you and get you wanting to go see it. But
it's gone to a point now, though, where if you've watched the trailer for the movie, you've seen. Oh, I've already seen all the best parts in the movie now.
Yes,
because that's what trailers have become now. They literally just do show every single aspect of the movie that would make it any worthwhile of going to see it.
Yeah, like
that's why kind of like on this, I wanting to see the Snyder Cut because they give a lot of that.
I think
that I didn't want.
Zack Snyder, I think, was just given. I think people have put him on a pedestal that he does not belong on at all.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, Zack can do one type of movie.
Yeah, he's good at certain things. He's not good at fucking everything. Like, he has a track record of doing comic book movies, but not all of them are fucking hits. I mean, he did a 300. That was fantastic. He did he did the remake of Dawn of the Dead. That was fantastic.
That was actually okay. That was actually a really good remake.
Yeah.
Actually a really good attempt.
But I mean, like, other than that, like, Man of Steel is good, but it's not fucking fantastic, though.
I'm not a massive Superman fan.
Same, but even without that, like, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't fantastic for me. Like, it wasn't like the Christopher Reeve Superman films where you actually, like, you enjoy it, you feel it. It's like, I really like this film. Like, you just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, with Man of Steel, it was just like,
it's cold.
Yeah, it's very sterile.
Yeah, and it's like even when you're looking at him, like even when you look at some of the outfits though as well, like when you actually look at like the new Superman suit, you're kind of like, no, I need that vibrance. I need that vibrant blue and red. I need to I need that sort of thing. It's the same way as when I look at the Batman, the bat suit, right? So when you look at so if we go back to the 60s, and it was just spandex, right? And that.
Sure, we can.
All right. We will very, very, very quickly. All right. I just want to kind of get this point out there, right? If we go from like the 60s Batman, right, which was very camp, which was very over the top, right?
Yeah.
And it was, this is the comic. This was like the Saturday morning television that they all wanted, and that was fine. And I still watch it on Saturday mornings. It's great. Then you got Tim Burton, which makes it a little bit more dark and gloomy, and he makes it his own thing. And then Joel Schumacher comes in, and he's like, "Oh, it's comic. It's vibrant. It's witty. It's flamboyant." Then you got Christopher Nolan, who's like, "No, fuck all that shit. I'm going to start from the beginning. I'm going to
A
do it the way I
realistic
want to do it."
take. Yeah.
And it was a realistic take on it. And one of the best parts about that is about the suits, right? So when they go into the suits, you have the same thing with Michael Keaton. When Batman turns, everything, it's body.
Yeah,
Everything
he
body
can't turn
turns
his
to,
neck.
right? It's the same thing. And in Christopher Nolan's series, he's like, after the first, like he has his first kind of bat suit, and Bruce Wayne is like, I want to be able to turn my neck. They point out what everyone has already been saying through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Scarecrow, Cillian Murphy is an excellent Scarecrow in that, and I'm raging that they never used him like that character originally. They never used that villain because he is a great villain. He is an excellent villain when you look at it.
Yeah.
And then they bring in obviously with Two-Face, and then the Joker, and then Bane. Tom Hardy as Bane was good.
Yes.
Fuck what anyone else says on this one, right? It's a long movie. Okay, granted, he kind of did drag it out, but you know what? All great trilogy, if every trilogy, there is always going to be the one movie that's the kind of the letdown on it. And granted, okay, The Dark Knight Rises was a little bit of a letdown with regards to some aspects, but I mean, I'm still going to watch all three of them. It's like Back to the Future. I'm still going to watch all three of them, even though the third one's not that great. Godfather's a different story altogether.
From the Christopher Nolan, then we got the Batman v Superman. Batman v Superman came off the tail of Man of Steel. So we had Henry Cavill as Superman going into this, but we had the casting of Ben Affleck as Batman for this. Now, this movie is like a very hit miss, even with a director's cut, because a lot of stuff is
shit.
A lot of simple things could have been explained in less than a half hour.
Yeah.
I'm not like, I really liked the movie up until
Martha.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But like there was a lot of things going for that. You had 2 years of build. So everyone's expectations are unrealistically high for a big blockbuster movie, potentially.
The worst scene they had when Batman was saving Martha was the best Batman fight scene I've ever seen at the same time.
See, that's the thing is, that's what he does really well.
Yeah.
He's able to do stuff like that really well. It's just everything else then just kind of lets him down, I think.
Like, no, obviously, like, you had the 2 years. You had, like, they also spoiled things in the trailers. Like, you spoiled the surprise of Wonder Woman. You spoiled the surprise of Doomsday, like, being there. Like, it's... also, the casting is a bit...
Kind of
no, but like...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the casting is so iffy.
Like, having, like, what? Like, Jesse... Was it? What's his name?
Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
Fuck
no,
off.
He would have been a Riddler. I well believe him as a Riddler, but not fucking Lex Luthor.
Although I will be interested to see what he's like in the Snyder Cut.
Yes, hopefully, like that'll change it up.
See, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I'd like for the fanboys in this use. Don't be putting all your fucking hopes and dreams into the fucking fan cut, because honest to God, I don't.
Oh no,
it's gonna pay off.
Well, I'm interested to see it.
Yeah.
Like I've seen enough of it. Like I've already seen spoiled from the first trailer, and I'm just like, oh God, I'll see it when I see it. Kind of.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is I'd say there's like I know 2 or 3 people who are like going out of their way to make sure that they see it, whereas everyone else I know are kind of like, no, I'll fucking wait. I'm not spending my money on another letdown for like 8 hours of my life. I'll never get back.
On HBO Max, I probably will watch it when it comes out because I'll have HBO Max. So.
Yeah, look at you with your HBO fucking Max.
But like obviously, like
I have my Netflix. Fuck you.
Oh.
But like with the like
I
the
have
Batman v
furniture, Tony.
Superman,
Have you?
like, like Batman v Superman also fucking like there was a lot of fucking groundwork that was being laid in that film. Like in such a like in a 2 hour stint, you're already laying the groundwork for Justice League, Wonder Woman, Flash, like all these other things down the road,
Yeah.
as opposed to
They have
holding
too much.
off on them.
They have too much focus on what they have planned, I think, and they're like, we need everyone to see what we have planned,
As
so they
opposed
will
to
come back,
just
as opposed to just deal with one project at a time.
like
But
follow the Marvel fucking formula. Like
See, this is what I mean.
they
They're
don't
playing
think the
catch
long
up.
game. They
No,
won't
that's
think
what I
of the long
mean.
game.
Is this the thing is Warner Brothers knows that they're playing catch up, and they're trying to do that now. Now that kind of Marvel.
They're keeping them
I don't
separate.
think it. I think they've gone their own way, and they're like, look, we're not
Now
going to
they
get
have.
yeah.
Yeah,
They've
because they
been
have.
ever since the Woman movie was successful. They've been kind of like, okay, Justice League happened. We're not going to talk about that, but like,
Yeah, that's
Wonder
what I
Woman,
mean. Now
all
they're doing it
that-
right.
Wonder Woman and
Now
Aquaman
they're doing
did
it right.
really well because they were standalone movies with only one or two tie-ins to previous films. That
Wonder
was it.
Woman was
Yeah.
a fantastic
Was
movie.
it-
But like that's what worked. That was fine. Because like
Yeah.
in Wonder Woman all you had was a fucking briefcase with Wayne Tech. Like Wayne Enterprises. Okay, there you go. That's
And-
your reference. That's it. Boom.
All I need.
like,
Aquaman had Mirror, like and then obviously like the setup
Yeah.
for
there we go. That's the
Yeah.
only time.
it's like
That's all
simple
you
things
need.
like that.
All
And
you need.
Shazam just a lot of like kind of joke like references to everyone.
Oh,
Yeah.
Shazam is an excellent movie.
Yeah.
And then having the tease of Superman as well.
Yeah.
So
And honestly, Birds of Prey, I don't think had much times at all. It referenced Suicide Squad with Joker, but that was it. And Birds of Prey was fantastic.
I enjoyed it. I loved Ewan McGregor in that as Black Mask. Like I thought he was great
well.
in that role.
Works really well.
Like but I do DC are better at keeping them separate if they keep just subtle ties. It doesn't have to be like overbearing, but like subtle ties to kind of like hint at what's coming up or
Yeah,
what has happened.
That's a lot more exciting though as well, because if you're looking for the Easter egg that's in the movie, it will get you excited then to see the next one, because then you're trying to figure it out in your own mind, but you haven't built an expectation of what it is as to what they did previously. So if they do stick to the route that they're going now, I think it could actually pay off for them. Which is why I'm hoping that, with obviously going back to Robert Pattinson as the Batman, and now with the news that he's caught the plague, hopefully
he's got the awful Rona.
Yeah, so hopefully, I mean, maybe it might take. He might have a really mild case of it. Could be like 2 weeks, maybe. He'd be grand. Get him tested again. He's fine, and we can get back to sorting out the movie and stuff. But I am excited to see kind of. I know when he was originally kind of noted for it, and when he gave his infamous now fucking interview with him, like, I'm not bulking up, I'm doing cardio. I'm kind of like, I know a lot of people shat on it, but after seeing the trailer, I'm like,
It makes sense.
I was like, I actually like where he's going with this Batman. This reminds me of Michael Keaton Batman.
Yeah.
He wasn't a super stocky man in this sense. He wasn't built at all in this thing. Like, seems a bit more realistic in a sense to me, that this is what he'd be like. So I am looking forward to seeing the new Batman.
Like
the Batman.
The Batman is set in year 2.
Yeah. So I mean,
but also weird like how stock Ben Affleck was when he played it.
To be fair,
So
Ben Affleck was fighting his own demons, and I think that was his way, I think, of releasing that. If I get built for this, everything will kind of fall into place.
Like, everyone's kind of looking at that, and they're now like, Batman should look like this. And now when it's the complete opposite, where it's not that very big bulky guy, they're just going to complain. So
yeah, that's the thing is, like,
get used to something new now.
See, that's why I always kind of ask, who's your favorite Batman? Because the majority of people that will turn around and say, oh, Michael Caine's my favorite Batman. And I was like, oh, you mean the real small, scrawny comic actor was your favorite Batman, not the muscly build one? Michael Keaton, oh my God. Why can't I say Keaton at all. What's wrong with me? But like that's what I mean. Like he's my favorite Batman. So like to me, Batman doesn't have to be stocky, well built. Like I will accept Robert Pattinson doing on his fucking treadmill, hands down, as Batman, because to me that's a bit more realistic.
He was even at, like, you looked at the trailer. It wasn't like he's scrawny or anything.
No,
He's not a scrawny bloke though. Like to me, to be fair.
Yeah,
The way-
he's doing good pay for it.
like the way I see it is that with it being year 2, he's a young Batman.
Yeah, it makes
And he's
sense.
not going to be bulked up like a tank, like a 40-year-old Batman.
Yeah,
Like where he
it
needs to
makes
be bulked
sense.
up in order to be able to handle himself in the fight. Whereas, like, as a young Batman, he can be faster and outsmart them, like, not just brute strength. Even though we've seen it in the trailer, he's vicious, but he's quick. That's the difference.
The whole thing is, like, Batman's not like a fighter. He's a detective mainly before anything.
Yeah.
What detective is walking around at like 200 kilos of pure muscle? Like
That's the thing is, like it's like, can we just let's go back to what DC actually was. It is Detective Comics. Like,
Yes.
I want to go back. I want us to go back to what it used to be, because even in Batman Begins, it was the exact same kind of way with how they started with Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan was the scrawny-ish Bruce Wayne, but then they showed what he did to transform into Batman.
now that I think
They took that aspect of it. Like, they took the aspect of, like, the physical. They didn't really take the mental aspect of it.
Oh, to be fair, look, we already know at this point anyway, Bruce Wayne is a severely traumatized, broken person who
Wait, he is?
Tony, I'm so sorry to ruin this for you. Oh my God. Mute me for, like, just take off the earphones so you don't hear this next part. But like, like when you realistically think about it, I mean, this is a person's way of dealing with the death of his parents. And even Alfred is probably like, I probably let this go on too long. I let this go a lot further than I should have. Yeah. I'm partly to blame, so I am going to have to help him in this, in a sense. Yeah. So I'm excited. I am very excited to see where it goes.
And the potential, like, if it does well, it's leading to a trilogy.
Exactly. Which I think suits Batman. Batman suits, it works well as trilogies, and I think we should stick with it that way. Tony, I feel like we're keeping you awake.
Yeah.
Well, it's 20 past 10 over there, so yeah.
Yeah.
20 past 10 for you.
Well past his bedtime.
Oh. He has to go for would be. Well, I'll tell you what then. What we'll do then is we can wrap up then for you now for the time being. And what we do is next time the three of us are together, we can go into a little bit more. But I know I need an education on The Witcher, and I think Tony is the person to do that.
No, it's not like I'm obsessed and play the game 20 times.
I heard, yeah. So I think we'll let you kind of do it on that one, Lisa. So you can actually study for that podcast, and you can educate us, because I'm going to do the preacher run.
Study.
Yeah.
No, I didn't just arm for no reason.
So I think, all right, so we'll end it there then for this one, because as I said, Tony, we're dealing with a new time zones and stuff like that, differences. So
yeah, Tony's in a different country.
Yeah, fucker.
I'm like, what?
You're in a different country,
so, yeah. There's no restrictions or anything.
So for everyone then at home, thank you so much for joining us. Like, subscribe to the channel, hit the little notification bell. Follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handles will be underneath us at some point, I'm sure. I don't do the post editing on this, so I don't know. I don't know what Jonathan does to these videos afterwards. All I know is that it will be in Comic Stands. But I've been Amy. That's been Tony. That's been Foxy. And we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.